Wait, is it 18th or what? Yeah,
Yes,
18th,
Guruji.
18th
Yes,
chapter of Pṛthu Maharaj pastime. And yeah, we know the background last time. Nupur covered it very well. Pṛthu Maharaj is chasing the earth in an angry way, right? Because she's not providing what she's supposed to provide, the grains and the means of living for, the food for all the citizens of of Pṛthu Maharaj's dynasty, which is the earth planet. So Pṛthu Maharaj and some of the people come and express that their plight to Pṛthu Maharaj. And Pṛthu Maharaj wants to take an action as a king. He wants to make sure that his praja is is taken care of. And we'll see actually praja doesn't only mean here, as Nupur covered last time. So prakrishta rupena jayate iti praja. So praja means anyone who is born. It doesn't just mean humans. So usually when we think of praja, at least that's what's been taught in schools, praja means humans, but human citizens. But actually that the word praja encompasses all living beings, not just human living beings. And yeah, we saw how Pṛthu is chasing the Earth planet, and then finally uh, the Earth planet submits. So she doesn't have any other way to stop this. So she kind of begs to Pṛthu Maharaj. And in this chapter, she offers a few prayers, right? And so Pṛthu Maharaj's complaint is that everything is being offered, all the yagyas or all the sacrifices are being offered to Mother Earth, but why is she not providing anything back? Why is she withholding all the vegetation, all the food which is required for the nourishment of the citizens, right? And she does give a reason here in this chapter, and we'll see that, and a bunch of other things we'll try to discuss. So yeah, with that, let's start with reading the chapter like we do every time. So yeah, whoever wants to go first can raise their hands. And okay, Nupur, thank you. Can go ahead.
Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Right.
The great Saint Maitreya continued to address Vidura. My dear Vidura, at that time, after the planet Earth finished her prayers, King Pṛthu was still not pacified, and his lips trembled in great anger. Although the planet Earth was frightened, she made up her mind and began to speak as follows in order to convince the king. My dear Lord, please pacify your anger completely and hear patiently whatever I submit before you. Please turn your kind attention to this. I may be very poor, but a learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places, just as bumblebee collects honey from each and every flower, to benefit all human society, not only in this life but in the next. The great seers and sages have prescribed various methods conducive to the prosperity of the people in general. One who follows the principles and instructions enjoined by the great sages of the past can utilize these instructions for practical purposes. Such a person can very easily enjoy life and pleasures. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs, and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non devotees who are devoid of all spiritual understanding.
Sorry. You can go up till 10, ma.
Okay, Roger. My dear king, not only are grains and herbs being used by non devotees, but as far as I am concerned, I am not being properly maintained. Indeed, I am being neglected by the kings who are not punishing these rascals who have turned into thieves by using grains for sense gratification. Consequently, I have hidden all these seeds which were meant for the performance of sacrifice. Due to being stocked for a very long time, all the grain seeds within me have certainly deteriorated. Therefore, you should immediately arrange to take these seeds out by the standard process, which is recommended by the acharyas or shastras. O great hero, protector of living entities, if you desire to relieve the living entities by supplying them sufficient grain, and if you desire to nourish them by taking milk from me, you should make arrangements to bring a calf suitable for this purpose and a pot in which the milk can be kept, as well as a milkman to do the work. Since since I will be very much affectionate towards my calf, your desire to take milk from me will be fulfilled. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Uh, yes, Nitya Mataji, you can continue.
My dear king, may I inform you that you have to make the entire surface of the globe level. This will help me even when the rainy season has ceased. Rainfall comes by the mercy of King Indra. Rainfall will remain on the surface of the globe, always keeping the earth moistened, and thus it will be auspicious for all kinds of production. After hearing the auspicious and pleasing words of the planet Earth, the king accepted them. He then transformed Swayambhuva Manu into a calf and milked all the herbs and grains from the earth in the form of a cow, keeping them in his cupped hands. Others who were as intelligent as King Pṛthu also took the essence out of the earthly planet. Indeed, everyone took this opportunity to follow in the footsteps of King Pṛthu and get whatever he desired from the planet Earth. All the great sages transformed Brihaspati into a calf and making the senses into a pot and they milked all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind and hearing. All the demigods made Indra, the king of heaven, into a calf, and from the earth they milked the beverage soma, which is nectar. Thus, they became very powerful in mental speculation and bodily and sensual strength. The sons of Diti and the demons transformed Prahlad Mahārāja, who was born in Asura family, into a calf, and they extracted various kinds of liquor and beer, which they put into a pot of iron. Move up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Please go ahead, Mataji.
The inhabitants of Gandharva Loka and Apsara Loka made Visvavasu into a calf, and they drew the milk into a lower lotus flower pot. The milk took the shape of sweet musical art and beauty. The fortunate inhabitants of Pitraloka, who preside over the funeral ceremonies, made Aryana into a calf. With great faith, they milked Kavya, food offered to the ancestors, into an unbaked earthen pot. After this, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, as well as the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka, transformed the great sage Kapila into a calf, and making the whole sky into a pot, they milked out specific yogic mystic powers, beginning with Anima. Indeed, the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka acquired the art of flying in the sky. Others also, the inhabitants of planets known as Kimpurusha Loka, made the demon Maya into a calf, and they milked out mystic powers by which one can disappear immediately from another's vision and appear again in a different form.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Vishal Prabhu, carry on, please. You can complete the chapter, 32 verses.
Okay, Prabhu. Then the Yakshas, Rakshasas, ghosts and witches, who are habituated to eating flesh, transformed Lord Shiva's incarnation, Rudra, Bhutanata, into a calf and milked out beverages made of blood and put them in a pot made of skulls. Thereafter, cobras and snakes without hoods, large snakes, scorpions, and many other poisonous animals took poison out of the planet Earth as their milk and kept this poison in snake holes. They made a calf out of takshaka. The four-legged animals, like the cows, made a calf out of the bull who carries Lord Shiva and made a milking pot out of the forest. Thus, they got fresh green grasses to eat. Ferocious animals like tigers transformed a lion into a calf, and thus they were able to get flesh from milk. The birds made a calf out of Garuda and took milk from the planet Earth in the form of moving insects and non moving plants and grasses. The trees made a calf out of the banyan tree, and thus they derived milk in the form of many delicious juices. The mountains transformed the Himalayas into a calf, and they milked a variety of minerals into a pot made of the peak of hills. The planet Earth supplied everyone his respective food. During the time of King Pṛthu, the earth was fully under the control of the king. Thus, all the inhabitants of the earth could get their food supply by creating various types of calves and putting their particular types of milk in various pots. My dear Vidura, chief of the Kurus, in this way, King Pṛthu and all the others who subsist on food created different types of calves and milked out their respective eatables. Thus, they received their various foodstuffs, which were symbolized as milk. Thereafter, King Pṛthu was very satisfied with the planet Earth, for she sufficiently supplied all food to various living entities. Thus, he developed an affection for the planet Earth, just as if she were his own daughter. After this, the king of all kings, Mahārāja Pṛthu, leveled all rough places on the surface of the globe by breaking up the hills with the strength of his bow. By his grace, the surface of the globe almost became flat. To all the citizens of the state, King Pṛthu was as good as a father. Thus, he was visibly engaged in giving them proper subsistence, and proper employment for subsistence. After leveling the surface of the globe, he earmarked different places for residential quarters in as much as they were desirable. In this way, the king founded many types of villages, settlements, and towns, and built forts, residences for cowherdsmen, stables for the animals, places for the royal camps, mining places, agricultural towns, and mountain villages. Before the reign of King Pṛthu, there was no planned arrangement for different cities, villages, pasturing grounds, etc. Everything was scattered, and everyone constructed his residential quarters according to his own convenience. However, from the time of King Pṛthu, plans were made for towns and villages. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, dear readers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्. Okay, so yeah, thank you, dear devotees. So this is the chapter, a short chapter, um, and very a nice chapter actually, because our um, conception of what Mother Earth provides. Actually, at least when I went through this chapter, I thought it'll be a milks earth means, yeah, I knew it was symbolic, but then I thought, okay, earth will give the food grains and the seeds required to grow the food grains, and that's it, done. But no, so earth is providing so many varieties of things, which are considered food or which are considered as the living, substance required for living for various types of living beings, including the trees and the animals, and not just the herbivores, but even the carnivores, and even Vidyadharas, the people from other planetary systems are coming. Brihaspati is coming, he's the guru of the demigods and whatnot. So in this way, Earth is providing various things, which is really interesting. So so yeah, this chapter is broken down roughly. The first section is where Mother Earth is offering prayers to Pṛthu Maharaj. More than prayers of glorification. They are kind of she's offering those words in fear somewhat, and trying to pacify Pṛthu Maharaj, and appease his anger, like that. And then the second section is where Pṛthu Maharaj, then he milks Mother Earth, and then various other entities, they choose one representative among them to become the calf, and that representative milks Mother Earth and gets what that particular group of living entities sees as food, right? And then finally, there is the chapter ends with in a summary as to what the developments that Pṛthu Maharaj did. Like the last verse says that there was no planning involved before Pṛthu Maharaj's rule. So after Pṛthu Maharaj started his rule, the cities were well planned and everything was functioning smoothly like a well-oiled machine and whatnot. So that is how the chapter progresses. And so one thing that had come up during the last discussion, something that Manan Prabhu brought up, there is an apparent contradiction in that. So Pṛthu Maharaj is angry at Mother Earth because he thinks that she's taking all the yagyas and sacrifices from the citizens. Okay, and now so Mother Earth is like a devata, a demigod. Now the way the transactions with demigods work is that you give them the yagyas, you do your part in giving them the yagyas and whatnot, the sacrifices you make for them, and then in return they give whatever necessities of life are needed for the living beings on the earth. So like you have, the famous story in 10th canto where Nand Maharaj and all the Gopas, they are preparing for a big sacrifice, and then Krishna goes and asks, for whom is this? Then Nand Maharaj explains that, look, Indra, we are cowherd men, we depend on agriculture, and Indra is the demigod in charge of rains. So if we give him what the yagyas, then he will give us rain by which we will subsist. And then we know how Krishna then convinces Nanda Maharaj to not give the yagya to Indra, but rather have a nice festival in honor of Govardhan Hill. That's a different story anyway. But then this is the cooperative exchange that is supposed to happen between the demigods and the humans. So in this way, Pṛthu is telling Mother Earth that you are getting your share of yagyas, you are getting all the fruits of sacrifice, but then you're not giving back to the citizens the seeds and the food grains for them to subsist on. And that is why he starts chasing Mother Earth, with an intention to shoot arrows to her and, injure her or kill her. Or so he's angry. He's a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are by nature very intense, right? So he is chasing her, and then finally the point comes when she humbly offers prayers, right? Now, one thing she says in the prayers in the 6th and 7th verses is that she says, I am withholding these things because these things are being used by non-devotees for unscrupulous purposes, right? The grains that I'm providing, the non-devotees, the miscreants are taking that, consuming those things, and they are doing unscrupulous things. So that is the reason I'm withholding these seeds, with me. So the apparent contradiction here is, if if non-devotees are misusing, so then that is it's correct on the part of Mother Earth not to provide the grains to them, to the citizens, right? Because those are being misused, So then why is Pṛthu Maharaj angry at all, right? So then here I was reading through this purport. I think this is the purport of the 7th verse, I believe, 6th or 7th verse. So here it says that which happened. So now remember Pṛthu Maharaj said in the last chapter that you are getting your share of yagyas. Even then, why are you withholding the food grains, right? So here Prabhupada writes in the purport that that which happened during the time of Pṛthu Maharaj and his father King Vena is also happening at this present moment, And then Prabhupada goes on to explain the contemporary situation of mass food production and misuse of that. But then, yeah, so here from this purport, it's clear that during the reign of Pṛthu Maharaj also, there were some miscreants. There were some non-devotees, miscreants, immoral people, so to say, who were misusing the food grains being offered by the earth. So I guess I could not find any, I didn't have much time to listen to too many lectures, but at least in the purports, I could not find a place where Prabhupada addresses this contradiction or apparent contradiction. But the only thing that I could say, which we did allude to last time, is that, we all threw out theories last time of what is the resolution to this apparent contradiction. Yeah, I do think that so King Pṛthu has taken over from Vena recently. So it's still the kingdom is in a transitioning phase. And yes, there are devotees who are flourishing. They are doing all the necessary duties and offering all the yagyas to the various demigods for everyone's welfare. But at the same time, because it's a transition phase, um, there is, there are also these miscreants, these unscrupulous people in the kingdom as well. So they are the ones that are misusing. And then Mother Earth, because she doesn't want her seeds to be misused, she's withholding them. So that does make sense. And also, one other thing that we discussed is about the personalism of Mother Earth, right? When you consider Mother Earth as a person, then it's like people have plundered you for years and years and years together. Like during the time of King Vena, he was not a good king, he was a tyrannical king. So Mother Earth was plundered during that time. So if you look at her from a personal perspective, like as a person, then if you undergo that kind of a trauma again and again, year after year after year, you sort of become closed, right? So it requires some divine intervention to kind of open us up, and so that we start giving again, so to say. So that's what's happening here. So I guess that's the only reconciliation that I could think of. If there are any other theories or any other things that any of you have heard, please feel free to share that with the group. Yeah. Is there anything on this? If not, then we can move on to the yes, Vishal Prabhu.
Prabhu, I was thinking about this in a different way. I mean, not a different way, but I was just like thinking about it. So there was a group. There were a group of people, or like the majority were performing their yagyas to Mother Earth, and
Yeah.
then there was a group of people who were like uh, disobeying her, and they're like were like not doing their part.
Yeah.
So in a way, Mother Earth was not being fair to the group of people who were doing it. So like it was necessary to intervene, to question that, right?
Yeah.
That it is necessary to for somebody to ask that, like that you're not being fair to everybody over here. That
Yes.
was one thing I was thinking about. And the second thing was, I think the Nupur Mataji only gave this example of like how um, so like demigods are like managers, but then there is like there's higher management and they're answerable to that. So now something wrong was happening, like their employees were doing something wrong, and the demigod here um, uh, took it upon themselves to take a decision, uh, and failed to do their duties of like providing for earth. So you have this, if as long as it's a, what is it called, like a tiny decision, you're fair to, like, you're it's okay for you to take your decisions. But
Yeah.
if it comes to the fact where you are giving up your entire, like, your duty of um, providing for everybody, just because some people are being disobeying you,
Yeah.
then you should probably take it up with the higher management, that like, the decision should have not been Mother Earth completely. She would have, like, she should have gone to uh, uh, like, she should have gone to whoever she was answerable to, right? Like, Krishna or God, to complain about that, to come to a resolution. So, like, I felt that it was fair for King Pṛthu to call out Mother Earth,
Yeah.
because, like, that was not the right resolution by her.
Makes
Even
sense.
though it sounded like, it was partially right, it was not complete. Like, it was not complete.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good way of looking at it, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Any other thoughts on this? Okay. So anyway, so the thing is, and then, so the first section where Mother Earth is offering certain words to pacify Pṛthu Maharaj. So these words were offered, I guess, in a state of fear. But then, there was still a lot of sense in those words. And especially those words are relevant to us as practicing devotees who are trying to, aspiring devotees. Uh, so we'll try to look at those few verses and then try to bring out themes out of that. So the first thing that she says here is, my dear Lord, please pacify your anger completely and hear patiently whatever I submit before you. Please turn your kind attention to this. I may be very poor, but a learned man, so this is the highlight, but a learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places, just as a bumblebee collects honey from each and every place. So this essence, right? A learned man takes the essence of knowledge. So we throw around this word essence a lot in spiritual circles. So what is the essence? I was just trying to see what does the secular world have to say about this word essence. So here I just searched on Google. So this is one meaning is the intrinsic nature or indispensable quality of something, especially something abstract that determines its character. Conflict is the essence of drama, for example, or in philosophy, which is more relevant to us, a property or a group of properties of something without which it would not exist or be what it is. Right? Or another is an extract or concentrate obtained from a particular plant or other matter and used for flavoring or scent. This third meaning is what I always knew that essence meant. There are certain words that you hear after you come to bhakti, but you had heard those before, but in different contexts. For example, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, in bhakti we hear about rasa, right? Rasa theology, Madhurya ras, Vatsalya ras, and Dasya ras, and things like that. So, he says, before coming to bhakti, the only ras we knew was Ganne ka ras and Aam ka ras, right? Similarly, before coming to bhakti, the only essence I knew of was, this vanilla essence that mothers put in cakes. That is the only essence I knew, vanilla essence or rose essence or what essence, but then then later I realized that, essence is a very big word and it's very important. But in any case, this is what essence means, right? A property or a group of properties of something without which it would not exist or be what it is. And then we see this term essence being thrown around, right? Prabhupada had this famous quote, books are the basis, utility is the principle, purity is the force, and preaching is the essence, right? So as members of the Hare Krishna movement or practitioners of the path of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, preaching is the essence. Followers of Prabhupada, we share this gift of Krishna consciousness that we have gotten with others with the intention that they become genuinely happy, right? So preaching is the essence. Giving Krishna to others is the essence, is what Prabhupada has said. and then Prabhupada has written in his purport, Srimad Bhag. So I've just used abbreviations here because I didn't have much time to put together these slides. So SB Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of Vedanta Sutra, right? And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Upanishads, right? Sarvopanishadogavo Dogda Gopalanandana, Parthovatsa Sudhir Bhokta, Dugdham Gita Mritam Mahat. So the Upanishads are considered like a cow. Then Arjuna is considered the calf. Krishna is considered as the milker of the cow. Then all the Sudhir are the intelligent, genuinely intelligent people and devotees. They are the relishers of the milk, and that milk coming out from the cow of Upanishads is Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, like that, is the essence of all the Upanishads, which in themselves are the essence of all the Vedas, right? And then what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? Bhakti is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Like Prabhupada writes this and proves this in his purports. So like that, we talk about seeking the essence. So I was just contemplating on this, what does it mean to seek the essence? What does essence really mean? Of course, there is this definition that is there of the essence, but then how do we even there this Rupa Goswami says that a Vaishnava is Saragrahi. He looks for the essence, right? And one of the ways a Vaishnava looks for essence in everything is that a Vaishnava doesn't bother or kind of overlooks those details that are not relevant or important, right? Or in other words, like the analogy of a bumblebee is given here, right? So the bumblebee collects honey from each and every flower, right? On the other hand, if you take a fly, Prabhupada gives this example a lot. Nayad Vachaschitra Padam Harer Yasho, right? So the devotees are like the bumblebees. They look for nectar everywhere, but often we have that fly mentality. We try to look for the dirt in everything else and everyone around us. We try to criticize, right? But that is not a Saragrahi person. That is not a person who is seeking the essence, right? So like that, the person who seeks essence, Saragrahi Vaishnava, Saragrahi person is one who looks for the good in everyone, because that is the essence of everyone, like that. So anyway, this is one theme that I wanted to bring about. So does anyone have any thoughts on this? How do we seek the essence? What does essence mean to you, right? Yes, Krishnan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think that, the definition of essence that you gave are very, very interesting, because even the word dharma is one of the definitions of dharma that I've heard is the essential property of something, or the essential quality of something. Like, for example, the dharma of sugar is sweetness. And if you take sweetness out, sugar would not be sugar.
True.
And so if so that is and the other question that I had for you was in these verses, with the bumblebee translation, is the word Saragrahi used in the verses, or is there some other word used, Prabhu?
Not sure. Let me check. Sanniyacha Bibo Manyum Nibodha Shravitam Chame Sarvatah Saram Adatte Yatha Madhu Karo Buddha. So this Saram, Sarvatah Saram Adatte. So from everywhere, Sarvatah, Saram is the essence. Adatte takes. Yatha Madhu Karo Buddha. Very beautiful words actually. Sarvatah Saram Adatte Yatha Madhu Karo Buddha.
Got it. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And I'll just extrapolate from just a little bit, which is that if Prabhupada said that preaching is the essence, then if a true Vaishnava does not preach, either preach through words or preach through their actions or their behavior, then that means we're not true Vaishnavas.
It's
So I'm just
interesting.
extrapolating there a little.
Yeah, wouldn't say true Vaishnavas, but see the we say right in like Narottam Das Thakur prays Jaharani kate gele, Papa dure jaye. So he prays in E Baro Karuna Koro is a prayer to all the Vaishnavas in which he says Jaharani kate gele, if I come close to you, if I interact with you, dear Vaishnava, Papa dure jaye, my sins go away, like my sinful reactions go away, or the tendency to commit sins goes away. So in that sense, yes, preaching again, as you rightly mentioned, preaching is not just about giving classes or writing, or that is one way of preaching for sure. But uh, if we set that right example, that is also preaching. So definitely, and Prabhupada did appreciate that. It's not that he minimized those who did not go out to distribute books, or he minimized those who, let's say, took care. Like uh, I'm interacting with a disciple of Prabhupada, Adidev Prabhu, very frequently these days, almost day in and day out. So he was giving an example. He was giving an incident that happened in one of the temples in LA actually. So LA used to be the international headquarters of ISKCON at one point, because it was a central place for everything. Prabhupada trained up devotees in so many aspects over there: deity worship, cooking, dressing the deities and whatnot, so many things. So there one Mataji, she so Prabhupada at that time was very strong on book distribution. He said you should distribute books, that is the thing you should all be doing. He would tell his disciples. And then there was this Mataji who was a pujari in the temple, and she had a child as well, a small baby to take care of. So in her, seva as a pujari and taking care of the child, she was not able to go out for book distribution. And then you see all these devotees around you stressing book distribution is the thing, book distribution is the thing. And then so she went to Prabhupada one day and said, Prabhupada, I really want to go out for book distribution, but look, this is the situation. I have my pujari sevas, and plus I have a child to take care of. What should I do? Then it's interesting, but Prabhupada told her that your child is your deity. Your child is your deity, take care of the child, right? So in that sense, yes, Prabhupada did not minimize that. So yes, preaching is the essence, but it can be done in a variety of ways. Just by being a devotee and trying to have that genuine humility in us is also preaching. Just by seeing that, people around us can get transformed. And that is the ultimate aim of preaching, right? We want to transform the hearts of everyone and make them happy. That is the aim. So.
Right. And then, I agree with you, Prabhu, and, it is very nicely explained. And also extrapolating a little further is that, to be a Vaishnava is not a individual sport. I'm saying this because the Olympics are going on now. It's a team sport. That means, you have to, a true Vaishnava is somebody who is selfless, not selfish.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
if preaching is the essence, that means they're givers, they're net givers.
Yes. There is this book called Vaishnava Compassion by Satswarup Das Goswami Mahārāja, and he writes some really strong words in that. So he says that, actually there is a nice quote by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Let me read it out. It's really beautiful. When I read it, I was like, it's a small quote, but it has so much meaning. Yeah, so this is the quote. The tenderness of the heart experienced toward Krishna is known as bhakti. This we all know. All other jivas are servants of Krishna. When one experiences tenderness of heart toward them, it is known as daya or compassion. Therefore, compassion is included within bhakti. So this is this Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote in Jaiva Dharma, of the books he wrote. So yeah, by preaching is the essence. we can come out a little, zoom out a little, and preaching is a compassionate activity, and that is it's included. That compassion is actually included within bhakti. We see that a pure devotee loves Krishna from the depth of his heart, and then he sees these other living entities around him who don't have that love for Krishna, or rather they have that love for Krishna, but it is covered over by various misconceptions and ignorance. So that bhakti, that love towards Krishna, translates into compassion for these living beings, because a pure devotee wants to connect them also to Krishna, like that. And Satswarup Maharaj writes very nicely. He writes that just by being part of a compassionate institution, so we say, right, janma sarthaka kari karo para upkar, right? So this act of preaching or act of compassion in Krishna consciousness is the para upkar. Krishna consciousness is the panacea for all the problems of this world, right? So he writes, in that sense, we have the greatest gift we can give to the world, the most compassionate gift we can give to the world. But just the fact that bhakti is the most compassionate gift we can give to the world does not mean that we are the most compassionate people. There can be people in other spheres, other organizations who their solution may not be the highest. Their solutions may be temporary, but their sense of compassion may be much higher than us, and they are putting so much effort in that. So yeah, he writes that compassion is not an activity, it's not an institutionalized activity, rather it's an expansion of heart. But of course, it's a very deep subject. We'll not get into that, but I hope that makes sense, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts on essence? Okay, the essence of the answer, the essence of the silence is that nobody has any further thoughts on this. So we'll move ahead. So anyway, so this is again another thing that we often keep hearing. Mahajano yena gatha sapanta. Follow the Mahajanas. Follow the pure footsteps, following the footsteps of the great souls, we say, right? So I just wanted to put that in context, where does this verse come? Who says this? So this verse is said by Yudhishthir Maharaj in Mahabharata, and Mahaprabhu quotes this, and it comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the whole verse is Tarko Pratishta Shutayo Vibhinna Nasav Rishir Yasya Matam Na Bhinnam. And there is one more third line. Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam Mahajano Yena Gatah Sapanta. So the translation is like this: dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajanas advocate. So seeing this in the context, it makes much more sense. Mahajanuyena Gathasa Pantha is not like blindly following a Mahajana. The in this verse, actually, in its complete, if you see its completeness, the qualifications of a Mahajana is also given here. It's the solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. So unadulterated and self-realized. That is the Mahajana, right? So yeah, this is also very nice verse that comes in Mahabharata, and it is quoted very often. And this is actually connected to the next point that we'll discuss. But yeah, when we have to understand the essence of something, right, it's not easy to do it on our own by just reading the Bhagavad Gita. We can't get it. We have to follow the footsteps of Mahajanas. We have to get the blessings of the Mahajanas. There is a story in the Madhva Sampradaya. So there was this during the time of Madhvacharya, there was this bull. I have told this story before, but I'll repeat it. It's a very favorite. It's a story close to my heart. So there was this bull that would carry the books of Madhvacharya wherever he would go. So this bull would, on his back, he would carry all the books. And then at one particular place, some disciples of Madhvacharya come, and one of the disciples says, Acharya, I want to write a commentary on the Shastras. Please allow me to do that. That is the etiquette. Like we take permission and blessings from our guru when we want to write a commentary, when we want to write a translation or a book. So like that he asks, and then Madhvacharya says, no, you're not yet there. So please wait. And then he again says and goes and asks, can I write a commentary? Then Madhvacharya says, no, you're not yet there. Wait. And again he goes. Then Madhvacharya kind of becomes agitated. He becomes a little annoyed. He says, that bull will write better commentaries than you. You don't write now. Just shut up. Something of that sort, he says. And then now he has indirectly blessed that bull, right? He says that that bull will write commentary. So what happens is after many years after Madhvacharya's passing, a prince is born in a place in Maharashtra, which is actually very close to my hometown. His name is, I forget, Dondopant something. I forget the Marathi name. Actually, he's born to a royal family in that village. So one day he's going on his horse and he becomes hungry. So what he does is he takes the horse inside the river, like the horse steps inside the river. It's like only the horse's mouth is out, so the horse is breathing, but the horse's body is submerged, and there is this prince sitting on it. And then what this prince does is he bends down and drinks water directly through his mouth, like the way animals drink. And when he does that, there is this Akshobhya Tirtha. He's the disciple of Madhvacharya. He's nearby. He's giving a class to his disciples. So seeing this prince drinking water like this, he asks him in Sanskrit. He asks, Kim Pashu Punar Dehe. So Kim Pashu Punar Dehe, it means which animal were you in your previous life, right? And then when he asks this to this prince, the prince realizes, he remembers his past life. So apparently the bull that Madhvacharya had blessed was reborn as this prince in his next life. And his bull would sit through all the discourses of Madhvacharya, listen, and so that Vani was there in his mind and his chitta. So, and then he suddenly remembers all his past life. He remembers all the teachings of Madhvacharya. And then he himself becomes a great Acharya. He takes sannyas and he becomes a great Acharya known as Jayatirtha. So he's a great Acharya in the Madhva line. Everybody knows about him. So that is the power of blessings. That is the power of following the Mahajanas, Although in this case, the bull didn't even consciously follow, but just by getting the blessings of a Mahajana, the bull was delivered. So, yeah. Anyway, any other reflections on this Mahajano Yenigata Sapanta? Any questions? Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So this is the third theme that I wanted to discuss. So one of the things that Mother Earth says here in these verses, actually. So here she says, a foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. So here Mother Earth is, talking against mental speculation, right? So this is something that again comes up in when we discuss within devotee circles or even spiritual circles. What is mental speculation, right? Even Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, right? Shruti Smriti Purana Adi, or maybe in a different book, but Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpata Yaiva Kalpate. So that bhakti which is not in line with the Shrutis and Smritis, right? The Vedas, Puranas, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina, the vidhis that are given in Pancharatra, such bhakti is just aikantiki bhakti, just mental speculation. Aikantiki bhakti utpata yaiva kalpate, and it just causes disturbance in the society, is what Rupa Goswami says. And Krishna says something to this tune in the Bhagavad Gita as well. Yaha shastra vidhim utsrijya vartate kamakaratah nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. Right. So this importance on the shastras, spiritual, books is given. And then if we try to speculate due to our own whimsical nature, which is something that is not in line with these principles given in the shastras, that is actually not a great way of practicing spiritual life. That will actually take us away from Krishna. So that is what mental speculation is. Very strong things have been said about that. But at the same time, we as devotees, when we practice for some time with a sincere desire to serve, we have certain ideas, certain things that we think will make the workings of the movement better, certain things that will make the whole thing better, the whole machinery of Krishna consciousness better, right? We may come up with a nice way to preach, we may come up with innovative ways to distribute books, or we may come up with innovative ways to to do something in the temple. So there are so many things, right? So many innovative things or creative things we can do in Krishna consciousness, right? Especially those who are artistic, right? Now the question is, sometimes these things can go a little awry, and they start with a sincere desire, no doubt, but then sometimes it goes into a zone where it starts becoming a little somewhat of a mental speculation. And I've experienced this. This happens in remembrance of Krishna. Like, some event happens in life and we are quick to attribute that event as something done by Krishna, for example. Oh, this happened to me. Okay, Krishna wanted this for me, and that's why it happened. So whether that is mental speculation or whether that is genuine remembrance, we don't know, right? But at the same time, it is also said that we should remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So, and we have to come up with different ways to make ourselves remember Krishna. Right? We may put up pictures of Krishna in our home. So by just seeing those pictures, we might remember Krishna. Or in any way, like Radhanath Maharaj says, he was at a place somewhere, I think in California or something, and the temperature was 108 degrees. I think he was in New York, yeah, 108 degrees Fahrenheit. And then he saw that, and then he thought, oh, 108, such an auspicious number, right? The only good thing about this whole weather is that this number is auspicious, 108. Like that, he saw Krishna even in that situation. So yeah, so that is the thing. What differentiates? Where do we draw the line between mental speculation and creativity or innovation in Krishna consciousness? So this is the theme that I wanted to bring up. So if there are any thoughts, this is a question for everyone. Let's chime in and discuss what this is. So yeah, if anyone has any thoughts, I'll check the chat meanwhile. Yes. Anyone has any thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes. Who is this?
This is Lekha.
Oh, Lekha.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, very interesting. Class, Prabhu. So I was, and I think I resonate a lot with this recent point that you made about, trying to like interpret why is something happening, and then like, oh, Krishna wanted it this way, and then in no time things will change, and then we are like, oh, so I was wrong. And then I actually think that can, affect our faith in Krishna. And I was trying to think about this a lot, and I found out that I was having this tendency to like interpret because I had assumed some sort of level in my devotion. So I thought, okay, since I'm so and so, like, I can interpret why Krishna is doing this, and I will be right. And whenever it things just changed, or it didn't stay the way it was supposed to, then it doesn't it didn't unwaver me, but it did shake me a little bit. So thank you for actually like bringing this out, because I didn't think any others would be experiencing the same, or we would be discussing this. So thank you for reminding. This is like a great reminder for me and affirmation for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for being candid. Anyone else has any thoughts on this? You're allowed to be creative. Yes, Nitya Mataji.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is such a kind of a conundrum, right? So we were asked to think about Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is the part of a devotee's pretty much a goal, right? A higher purpose, being in Krishna consciousness. At the same time, whenever something happens, we in that process, it is only natural for us to think that Krishna has given me this opportunity. Krishna wants me to do this. Krishna has approved of my actions. So we think so many, we put so many things on Krishna in that sense. So recently I heard a class from Shubhavilas Prabhu, and he mentions that if Krishna is wanting you to do something, or let's say that is Krishna's desire, then it can be a form of a prayer also that we can do. That if we can say that if this is your desire, Krishna, that I do this endeavor, or I take this opportunity, or I take this option out of the many options, please reveal it to me. And then when we sincerely pray like that, then we will hear from devotees mentioning the same thing. Then we will know that it's a confirmation. If you don't, then it is definitely not. So it was saying that as a clear cut, like as though it is like pramanam. Like so that was very interesting to see. It's like confirming from multiple sources, right? And I think that also puts us in a submissive mood to offer a prayer, saying, okay, if this is what you desire, Krishna, let me know. And giving the again performing that duty sincerely, and then giving the results to Krishna to to reveal that to us, instead of us taking the pride that, oh, because I did this, Krishna is rewarding me this, or because whatever reason, like I did so much seva, Krishna is now giving me a chance to stay in the temple, or giving me a chance to do lead a class, or whatever. It is actually not that may not be the right attitude. That right attitude would be, in spite of me being such a lowly devotee, Krishna is mercifully giving me this chance. And also, if we are like I said before, like if we are trying to choose an option from many options, instead of saying, okay, if I see some, I know people who do this, like I go in the road, and then if I see something that relates to, let's say, some picture and then thinking, then that is a sign. I mean, all that is mental speculation, completely mental speculation. Right? Like for example, if you go to in India, there are so many things that will happen. You see temples, you see behind the auto, behind the car, so many things that are written like Jai Shri Ram or Hanuman or, so many things, Kali or something, right? And always there is a chance, 9 out of 10, chance that that we will end up saying something. And, we may end up thinking that, okay, that is Krishna's sign. But in fact, the prayer should be that if this is so, please let me hear it from a devotee. So that I know that for certain that this is what you desire, Krishna. That puts us also in humble mode and not take things for granted. That's all I wanted to say.
Very nice, Mataji. Thank you. That is very beautiful, actually. I remember a funny story. I used to stay with a friend back in 12th grade. So that time, so we were preparing for IIT. I mean, he was preparing I was not preparing. I was distracted all the way. I wanted to get into army and stuff like that. So this friend was preparing for IIT, and the whole family was very passionate. Our kid has to get into IIT and whatnot. And he's a brilliant kid. I mean, I know him very well. He used to be like a best friend. So he's brilliant. And even I thought, for that matter, that yeah, he will make it. He has it. He has what it takes to get into IIT. And then I remember his mom telling us that she went to this some Devi puja, some demigod. I think it was a manifestation of Durga Devi, and they did some puja. And then there is a ritual where you kind of wish something, okay, and you wish something to the Devi, and if the flower on that photo of the Devi falls, then that means it will be fulfilled. And apparently that time his mom, she wished really sincerely that her son should get into IIT, and the flower fell, and they were very happy that okay, this is going to happen. But unfortunately he did not get into IIT. So that happened. So this is like an example of mental speculation. Of course, nothing against Devi worship. That is, there are genuine devotees who do that, genuine worshippers of Durga Maya. But yeah, this is, I just remembered when you mentioned about that. Also, the point that you mentioned, right, when we have multiple options to choose from, and we should pray to Krishna that please give me an indication. Now, I've observed in my life also, and in other devotees' lives also, that there are certain things that it's very difficult for any other devotee to weigh in on those things. It's like, even there are certain decisions that I battle with. It's although devotees do know about it, but they can't say either or. Like maybe in some cases they might just not have enough knowledge about it. Maybe it's a very specific thing that only you are an expert in, or very well. In that case also, you may not get that indication, even though you may sincerely pray. You may not get that indication from devotees, right? So I often, of course, from whatever limited realizations I have till now, what I think is, in such a kind of situation, we have to just make, using our whatever intelligence we have, whatever vision we have, we can make a decision, and then we can pray to Krishna that, look, I'm making this decision. Now you kind of give me the ability to make it right, to make this decision right, rather than making the right decision, make the decision right. So I say this often in terms of those devotees who look for marriage prospects, that it's not about finding the perfect person, it's about getting married and then making that relationship right, something of that sort. So, but yeah, I think it applies for many other things as well, where devotees can't necessarily give you a decision, give you an indication, but in many cases they do, but in some cases they don't. At that point of time, I typically have this prayer that, okay, I'm making this decision, please help me, Krishna, to make it Krishna conscious. So, yes, Manan Prabhu has something. Prabhu, please. Correct. We can't hear you clearly, Prabhu. It's very choppy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I have to leave in 10 minutes, but let me pose this and see if I can get some feedback. I know a devotee who has this, kind of a formula that he uses, and I wanted to hear what you think about this. So he, so like in a day-to-day things, or things which are not very clear, whether he should do it or not, what he'll do is he'll add some randomness to it. So for instance, should I call this person or not? He will add some randomness to it. He says, okay, I'll make a call. If the person doesn't pick up in 2 rings, then I will not talk. If he picks it up in 2 rings, then I'll talk to him. Or this was a senior person who's giving guidance to other people and so on also. So he will say, let's suppose you can come and stay here if you can find an apartment for rent within this value. If you cannot find within this value, then let's not do it. So basically giving some of his own sense of whether one should do or not, and leaving some room for Krishna to interfere and guide. So depending upon how strong he feels, he makes it, like suppose the going rents in this area are about $1,000. If he's really unsure, he may put it $800. If he's really confident, he may put it $1,100, something like that. So adds his own sense of what, or his own sense of what should be done with, but adding some uncertainty to it, and like giving Krishna room to affect, or his will to manifest through that. So I was wondering how it was kind of unique. I kind of liked it also because it's like in everything I am not just doing what I think I want to do. I'm keeping some room for some things out of my hand. But I'm just wondering what are people's feedback or thoughts on this?
Yeah, very, very nice, actually. Very interesting. I like this approach. Yeah. Yes. Any thoughts, dear devotees? I do have some thoughts, but I'll add after devotees do.
I mean, it is to some extent like a mental speculation is a combination of both, right? Surrendering and mental speculation, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, there is a component of mental speculation, I feel, too.
It's like we are manipulating the tweaking the process. I mean, I don't know if it works for people and that makes them, think more about Krishna in the end. I guess it is fine. But, my point was that it should not be that, like there are two things that we are discussing. One is that because of what I did, that Krishna is reciprocating. That is one aspect. That and then that is, I think it's very clear that probably by saying that, okay, it's not at all what I do, it's the unconditional mercy of the Lord, and that puts us in the humility mode and all that. And then second aspect to it is this one where we are waiting for a decision, we're unable to choose a decision, and then what if we have to choose something, but then nobody tells anything, or maybe multiple devotees choose multiple options. How do we do that? Yeah. I just feel like yeah, it is an issue. I'd like to see what others are thinking also. It is very definitely a nice conversation to churn. Yeah. Gautama Prabhu wants to talk something.
Yes. Please, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, can you, just to answer Manan Prabhu's question, I know he has to leave in 2 minutes. So Krishna is no one's order supplier or order carrier. And I just want to highlight what Srila Prabhupada says in this context. So if you can please pull up this purport for me, Prabhu. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 9, text 35, 1935. So this in this purport, actually, Srila Prabhupada very clearly answers this question of is Krishna or order carrier or order supplier? So if you go down to the purport, so and then maybe the Lord being the supreme living being, if you go to that part, the Lord being the supreme living being.
Wait a minute, supreme. Yeah, here.
Yeah, that can you just highlight? Yeah, just that, Prabhu. If you just read that part.
Sure.
I'll read it. I'll read it.
Okay.
So the Lord, being the supreme living being, is never the order carrier, is never the order supplier or order carrier of anyone, whoever he may be. So if your friend is saying that, okay, I'm just going to do my part, 2 rings, and let Krishna do the rest. So Krishna need not do that. But then the next line is, but out of his causeless mercy and affection for his pure devotees, sometimes he carries out the order of the devotee like an awaiting servant. So this kind of thing, we can usually, if a person is a pure devotee, he will not play with Krishna like that. Okay, I'm going to do this. No, Krishna, you fill in the blanks like that. He's not going to do that because he does not want Krishna to take the position of a servant. Now, the next line is, by executing the order of the devotee, the Lord becomes pleased, as a father is pleased to carry out the order of his small child. Now, this father and child relationship is rooted in love. And because of that, the father is pleased to carry out the order of the child. If there is no relationship like that, if some child comes and there's no relationship with the father and the child is saying that I'm going to do this, you do this for me, the father, that person may not do it. I hope you're getting it. So this is possible only out of pure transcendental love between the Lord and his devotees. And Bhishma Dev was quite aware of this fact. He therefore addressed the Lord as the friend of Arjuna. So I hope this answers. So I think, yeah, that's all, Prabhu. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was very nice. Kameshwar Prabhu, you had something to say?
Yes, Prabhu, just only 2 cents thought. Actually, Rupa Goswami says that Atyahara Prayasascha. So, anything like we are repeatedly putting a lot of efforts. If it is not working, then I realize that this is not Krishna's plan. So, so that prayasa. So we should, of course, we should try. Suppose if I have a goal, I can try it, nothing wrong. But you sincerely you try once, it's not working. Twice, it's not working for some reasons. Then better to forget about it. That's what I mean. I don't know. I may be right or wrong. But the prayasa word, it is one of the factors, 6 factors which Rupa Goswami mentioned. It is Vinashyati. So the bhakti bhava will be it is against bhakti. For bhakti practicing devotee, it is against to put it repeatedly striving for a material thing. So that's how I presume that maybe Krishna is not willing to have this for me. So that is, maybe that is just only 2 cents of that what I wanted to add here.
All right, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you, for your thoughts. Yeah.
Manan has his hand up. I don't know if this answers or
yeah.
So many different perspectives, but okay.
So I'll just quickly add my thoughts on this. So when Manan Prabhu described the whole thing, I think it is okay to do that as long as that devotee is detached from the outcome. So in the sense that it should not happen that, okay, if I find something below this particular rent range, then I'll go. But then if he does not find anything below that rent range, that should not become a lamentation in him, in the sense that, oh, why couldn't I go? Oh, why did this happen like this? I really had a desire to go. that train of thought should not come in. So that is one thing I feel. But otherwise, yeah, this purport by what Prabhuji mentioned here is very strong, very nice and strong as well. Yeah, Krishna is definitely not the order supplier.
So I just want to add one more thing here, Prabhuji. Sorry, if I can go. I don't know if someone else wanted to speak. They can go
No,
ahead.
please go ahead, Prabhu. Please go ahead.
So along with this, so many devotees, even within our group, they've asked me several times, asked us, Nitya and me both several times that, I asked Krishna for this and Krishna did not give me, so I'm angry with Krishna and things like that, or I'm upset with Krishna. So for us practicing
Yes.
devotees, for us, this is very important point. For us practicing devotees who are chanting 16 rounds, who are constantly thinking of Krishna, listening to lectures, going to temple, 24/7, we are making an effort to remember Krishna. For such souls, it is okay. It is okay to have such conversations. But for someone who is not a Vaishnava, who's completely not practicing Krishna consciousness to the best of their ability, for them to think like this is dangerous on their path. But for someone who's practicing Krishna consciousness to the best of their ability, then it is okay to have such interactions with Krishna. Again, this is I'm not generalizing this, but it's a case by case basis. But I've seen that for devotees, it's okay. So please, if you're doing this and from tomorrow, you should not think that, oh, Gaur Kumar Prabhu said this, I'm going to stop this, I'm not going to talk to Krishna and things like that. Please don't do that. You're all practicing devotees. You can still continue to have that loving relationship with Krishna the way you want to have that relationship with Krishna, but focus on the love, not just for getting things done by Krishna, but even outside of that. For example, has Krishna eaten today? What should I offer to him? Like these kinds of interactions also you can have, and then playfully ask Krishna to fulfill your order. So that way you can have. But I hope it's clear.
So the one thing about this purport I feel is, yes, Krishna is not the order supplier or order carrier of anyone. I agree with that. But we
Yeah.
also do say that Krishna is the Chaitya Guru, right? He guides
Yes.
us.
Yes.
He guides us towards what is. So I think this particular situation is about that, where this devotee is seeking guidance from Krishna as to what he should do. It's not really an order that, oh, you do this for me, Krishna. He's kind of seeking guidance.
No,
So that is one thing.
like which devotee are you saying?
I mean, the example that Manan Prabhu gave, where this devotee is battling with a decision and he wants to make a decision whether to, let's say, go to this place or not. And then he's making this, he's adding this fuzzy thing to it, where he's saying, okay, if I get a place in within this particular rent, then it's Krishna's plan, so I'll go ahead and do it. If not, it's not Krishna's plan, so I'll not do it, like that. So that is the context in which this is like Manan Prabhu had asked. So
Yes,
like
Prabhu.
to make a decision. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah. But then this is very right. The only thing I have with this purport is, yes, Krishna is not the order supplier or carrier of anyone, but then he is the Chaitya Guru. He is the guiding principle within the heart. How do we reconcile that fact with this fact that he is not the order supplier of anyone? Is my question. So, but anyway, yeah.
I know, yes, the first time, like the conversation about this happened, and Gautama Prabhu, that was when we were initially freshly married. When he told me this, I was like, I was very dejected, so there is nothing that I can, it's not possible for me to achieve a pure devotee state forget this lifetime, many lifetimes, to come. So what does that mean? So that the Krishna never reciprocates. I think it's very personal. I mean, over the years, I've realized, I mean, actually, many times I also had this kind of argument with him, like, how is it possible? In my life, I know for sure there are many situations where I felt Krishna had really helped me, held my hand, showed the way. And those are not reciprocations, right? I
Yes,
think
it
it's
is.
very personal. I think it's very, very personal. We cannot just say that he will only reveal it to. Yes, I mean, this is definitely true. Of course, even for pure devotees, he says sometimes he does, right? I mean, that gives a very meek line for us to even ask anything.
No,
But
that's why I
but
said the second part that I said, right? For us practicing devotees,
right.
we can have those things with Krishna. So, and it is totally okay. But we should not showcase that, I did this and Krishna did this for, I
Oh,
mean,
yes, I agree with that. I mean, a
yeah.
very, very personal. That's why I said this is very personal. If we can see it in ourselves, in our lives, where Krishna has filled our what we lacked, right? Where Krishna has stepped in where we cannot. Definitely, there is something that is what keeps us going as devotees, right? Otherwise, we would have stopped doing what we were doing long ago. So there is something that's some spark in us in that keeps us going. I think that is reciprocation. I think that only each one of us can answer for ourselves, and that is not for publicity sake. Yes, that's completely agree with that. Yeah.
Thank you, dear devotees. This is a really nice discussion, so stimulating. Uh, yeah. Let's see in the chat real quick. Okay, Vallabh Chaitanya Prabhu is saying, I think order versus prayer guidance begging is different. The mood and intention is different. Hmm. Do you want to elaborate on that, Prabhu or Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, I really like this discussion and very nice question. So I agree what later on what Gaur Kumar Prabhu added on this. I think as the order versus putting our mental speculation there, it is kind of what we want internally, but externally we are just dovetailing it to Krishna and getting it done. So I just think that versus a prayer or in a like a mood of a beggar where we are trying to go closer to Krishna but also being accepting where we are right now. So that the mood and intention that is different, and of course as Matari said, it's very personal.
And that mood and intention is given to us constantly as Vaishnavas. That mood, that humility, and then when we approach Krishna with that mood and intention, that is why I said that for Vaishnavas it's okay because they understand the mood. They don't think of Krishna as someone who's a clear order supplier or order carrier. They understand who Krishna is, the personal relationship, and all that. There's a lot of things actually. So that's why for Vaishnavas it's okay. Yeah. Sorry, Prabhu. Please continue. Vallabh Chaitanya.
Bro, thank you. That's all I wanted to say, and yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was nice hearing thoughts from everyone. But yeah, this is all I had. This is all I had in this chapter, and there is nothing else. I wanted to read out a poem by Bhaktivinoda Thakur called as the Saragrahi Vaishnava, but maybe we'll keep that for some other day. We are already 10 past 10. So yeah. If there are any concluding thoughts, if not, we'll conclude for today. Yes, Kameshwar Prabhu, you have something to say. Or maybe your hand is raised since before.
Yeah, I think from before.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, anything anyone wants to add? Gaurakumar Prabhu, any announcements you have?
So if you're in the New York City area, so tomorrow Urmila Mataji is speaking at 22nd Avenue. So please try to attend. And yeah, that's all, Prabhuji. That's it. Nothing else.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, dear devotees. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।